Hey guys, Mr. Bowman here. This is a short video on how to use the graphics calculator to simultaneously solve for the mean and standard deviation. So from video 9, this was the question and my working. We had the top 10% of a test getting above 85%, and we had the bottom 15% failing, which is below 50%. We drew our graph for both groups of data. So there's the top 10%, there's the bottom 15%. We calculated the Z values by standardizing the data and using our graphics calculator. And we then set up the equation of the Z value equation twice. And we rearranged to be left with two equations down the bottom. And we're not expecting you to know how to solve those algebraically, but we do expect you to know how to use the graphics calculator to solve for that. So here was the first equation that we were left with, and here was the second equation. This related to the top 10% who got above 85, and this related to the bottom 15% who got below 50 and failed that test. So our starting point, as always, when we're using the solver functions, when we're trying to solve things, we need to go into the equation mode. Once we're in the equation mode, we need to go to F1 simultaneous, because we're trying to simultaneously solve for the mean and standard deviation. And we have two variables, the standard deviation and the mean, in both equations. That means we have two unknowns. I'm going to click 2. And we can now start inputting the values that are of interest to us. So let's look at the first formula. The key thing to note is I've aligned the standard deviations. I've aligned the means. They're both on the same side of the equal sign. And I've got the numbers aligned as well. And if you've got them in this format, you'll be able to use your graphics calculator really easily. So let's have a look. Equation 1, we're going to put in the numbers that relates to each of them. So the first one would be 1.2816, push equals. We're now going to put in 1, because there's only one mean here, and we're going to put in 85 for C. We're now going to do the second equation. We're going to put negative 1.0364. Again, we've only got one mean, and our C value is 50. And if you match what we've got in our calculator with our formulas, we'll see there's a commonality between them. So that first formula, equation 1, each part is in the calculator in its right place, and the same thing with the second formula, they're all in the right order. Once you've done that, click execute, and that will come up with your two numbers. So the X, we said related to the first one, which is the standard deviation. So our standard deviation was 15.1%, and I've rounded that to 1 dp. And the second one was Y, and that's our mean, and that's 65.65%, and I've rounded that to 2 dp. So that means our mean was about 65.65% for that test. Hopefully you found this video useful in using the simultaneous function and solving for the mean and the standard deviation. Thanks for watching, guys.